There's something wrong here when these folks who the Republican Party has done a lot for. Let's be clear. The Bushes, the Romneys, the Republican Party has been pretty darn good to them. And they owe a little bit to the party and the people who make up that party beyond their own being above it all. In the case of Paul Ryan, he made a big mistake today, and he needs to understand this. He is the Speaker of the House. He has an obligation to unify the party.
Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich on Fox News last night scolding establishment Republicans for not getting behind Trump. You heard him criticize the current House Speaker, Paul Ryan, also Mitt Romney, and the Bush family, because two former presidents named Bush are not going to endorse Donald Trump for president. In the case of Bush 41, his spokesman said this: at age 91, President Bush is retired from politics. He came out of retirement to do a few things for Jeb, but those were the exceptions that proved the rule. And for Bush 43, it reads like this: President George W. Bush does not plan to participate in or comment on the presidential campaign. For more on all this, we're pleased to be joined via Skype from Aventura, Florida, by former advisor to Governor Jeb Bush, Justin Sayfie. Justin, now the publisher at SayfieReview.com. Justin, we appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, JD.
Just want to get this straight. Since you used to work for Jeb, we heard the two former presidents Bush are staying out. Is this family-wide, or might Jeb endorse Donald Trump?
Well, I haven't spoken to Governor Bush about this precise question, but, given the back and forth that happened between him and Donald Trump during the campaign, I would not be surprised if Jeb Bush does not endorse Donald Trump before the end of this campaign. They had strong differences of opinion on a number of different issues, and I wouldn't be surprised if Governor Bush just kept his opinion to himself about Donald Trump.
Well, imagine had Ronald Reagan in 1980 reacted to George Herbert Walker Bush describing Reaganomics as, quote, voodoo economics, and deciding, I don't want to have anything to do with that George Herbert Walker Bush guy. Politics is part criticism and confrontation, but at the end, it's time to get together. Aren't you concerned that for the Bush family, this comes off as one huge case of sour grapes?
Yeah, I can understand how people might perceive it that way. But at the same time, I also believe that there are two fundamental different visions of what the future of the Republican Party should look like. And I think that's what's really at stake here, is that I think, at least for Governor Bush, if you listen to his campaign and listen to what he's talking about, and then Donald Trump, and look, Donald Trump is the nominee of the Republican Party. This is his day. He will be the nominee. But that doesn't mean that everyone in the party is going to fall in lockstep behind that. And I think that's what you're seeing here.
Well, so I'm not entirely the devil's advocate. Let's go to another office holder, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Listen to what he has to say.
Okay.
And if they're not going to support the people that the Republicans nominated, then they need to get out of the Republican Party and admit they're no longer Republican, that there's something else, or that they need to just be honest and say, I only want it when I get it my way.
Now, what's wrong with that observation by Huckabee? Because he sets it forth in fairly stark terms, Justin.
Yeah, well, look, I'll say I disagree respectfully with Governor Huckabee. People are free to choose in the Republican Party. I like to think of the Republican Party as the Big Tent Party. We're not the party who Secretary of State Madeleine Albright said about women who don't support Hillary Clinton have a special place in hell. And I feel the same way about Republicans. Republicans are free to choose. We're the Liberty Party. We're the Freedom Party. And I don't think that you should be kicked out of the Republican Party if you don't agree to go down the line from the top of the ballot to the bottom of the ballot. And if you don't punch R every single time, Mike Huckabee is saying that you need to leave the Republican Party. I fundamentally disagree with that version of what it means to be a Republican. I believe even Ronald Reagan himself said that if you agree with me 80% of the time, you're a Republican.
And now that's on policy issues. He didn't say take a hike when you have the nominee. But fair enough, Justin. Listen, we appreciate your take, and we'll invite you back, at least here on Newsmax Prime. Thanks so much for your time. Our program continues right after this.